NBC Tonight.
Are you feeling the pain at the pump yet? $4 a gallon in West Texas. Youch. Congressman August Pfluger says he's got a solution to bring those prices down.
Coming up in sports, find out why this picture is worth a lot of money.
Finally, answers in the case of a missing boy, only they're not the ones a Midland mother was hoping for.
Governor Greg Abbott and the rest of the Lone Star State are showing their support for Ukraine. We're rounding it up.
More 60s in the forecast tomorrow, but a big-time cold front heads in tomorrow night. I'll break down the details.
A lot to talk about. News West 9 at 10 starts right now. A story that we have followed all week. Tonight, the first glimpse of answers in the case of a missing Midland boy. On Monday, we spoke with the mother who was worried about her missing son after she heard that someone was shot and killed at the Sandstone Ridge Apartments by a Midland County Sheriff's deputy. After that, she had not heard from her son, so she assumed the worst. And she had been working with Texas Rangers. Today we found out that the person shot and killed was in fact her son, Juan Herrera. Coroners identified him by his dental records. Today Rachel Robinson spoke with Juan's mother, Dora, again. Rachel, what did she have to say?
Yeah, Tatum, Dora is obviously in a lot of pain right now. Losing a son is unimaginable. Today I spoke to her about who Juan Herrera was as a son, a brother, and a person.
Juan Herrera, 14, was, well, a teenager. He didn't like having his picture taken and was a brother to 3 sisters. Juan's mom described him as a very smart kid. He was also a talented artist.
He liked to draw. His dad bought him the whole, drawing kit because he liked to draw.
Right now, Dora is waiting to see her son's body, which is currently in Dallas. She is also waiting on answers about what exactly happened that night.
I want to know what happened. I've heard so many stories of what happened, but I really want answers from the police, what really happened.
As of right now, we don't have any details on what did happen that night. It is currently being investigated by the Texas Rangers. We also do not know the name of the Midland County Sheriff's officer that shot Herrera. Juan's mom said she has had a lot of people from the community reach out to her. Tatum, back to you.
Rachel, thank you. Now let's turn our attention to the other story that has kept West Texas's attention this week. Feeling the pain at the pump. Since President Biden's announcement yesterday, we've seen prices continue to climb across the country. Averages in Midland and Ector counties sit right around $4 a gallon. And while President Biden says there's not much that he can do to solve the problem, Texas Congressman August Pfluger says there's plenty that can be done.
I've talked to a lot of producers. I've talked to a lot of industry experts. The thing that needs to happen is we need to unleash the American production. That is the one thing that will help us normalize these gas prices. Everyone is hurting at this point in time. And this doesn't help anybody in our country. We need to get those gas prices back down because it affects everything. It affects every single aspect of our economy.
You'll remember Congressman Pfluger has been fighting for his Midland over Moscow Act. That piece of legislation hopes to make the U.S. more energy independent. Congressman Pfluger says that the bill could hold the key to getting those prices under control if it can garner enough bipartisan support, that is. So what is causing those prices to climb to these new record heights? Plenty of folks across West Texas know that high prices, it could be a good thing for the industries that thrive here. But how did those prices affect us in the Permian Basin? It goes without saying, gasoline, it comes from the refining of crude oil. Now it's complicated from there. The jump though in prices really at its most simple is a ripple effect starting right with the price of crude.
So gasoline is manufactured by the refinement of crude oil. So as the base supply of the end product, when that base production goes up in cost, gasoline prices are going to go up in cost. And as we've seen the futures market trade higher and higher for crude oil, we're seeing gasoline at the pump go higher and higher as well.
So when could we see those prices start to drop? Robertson, he's not sure. All futures show the prices continuing to go up with no real end in sight yet. There is one thing that's sure, the push towards U.S. production does have the potential to bring more people to West Texas, which would mean more work opportunities. But none of this changes the fact this week gas prices, they are high. And as always, News West 9, we've got your back. Just text us the word gas to 567-9991 and we will send you a link to information on where to find the cheapest gas in your area. Tonight, 2 Pecos men are behind bars, more than 15 criminal offenses between the two of them. Nathaniel Saenz and Raul Duarte face charges of everything from firearms smuggling to engaging in organized criminal activity. The pair were arrested this morning in Pecos following a joint operation from the Pecos Police Department, the Reeves County Sheriff's Office, and DPS. During the investigation, law enforcement uncovered stolen weapons and other property. And what's more, they expect this investigation will likely lead to more arrests in a larger criminal operation. Okay, this story, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
A 106-year-old shipwreck was uncovered over the weekend, and what they found was a shock to many. Anthony, you've got more on the amazing discovery. The ship still kind of looks like this.
Yeah, honestly, it actually looks pretty preserved. So take a look at this before picture. This was back in 1915. The Endurance was a ship that was being captained by Ernest Shackleton. He planned on being the first person to ever traverse Antarctica, the continent of Antarctica. Unfortunately for Ernest Shackleton, though, he would never even step foot on the continent. So let's see what went wrong. The ship actually sank there off the coast of Antarctica in the Weddell Sea, way down here in the southern part of the world. The shipwreck location was right there, and the reason for it is because there was a lot more sea ice than the crew here really expected, and the ship really couldn't handle the weight of that sea ice. So this is actually a picture from this past weekend. The crew went out to try to find Endurance, and they actually did. Take a look at this photo. This is a 106-year-old ship, and you can still clearly read the wording there on the side of the ship. It's in pretty great condition. So why is it? It's because it was found 10,000 feet below the ocean. So bacteria and sea creatures can't really survive, so they weren't really able to decompose that ship very well, so really kept it preserved. Also, sea ice levels were 27% lower than average last month, so it made it a little bit easier to find it. And also, Mensum Bound, he was the exploration director. He said this quote, "This is by far the finest wooden shipwreck I've ever seen." Pretty cool. Tatum?
It is. Hey, a lot of you talked about this today. A Midland Fire Department investigation underway tonight. Earlier this afternoon, the playground over at Bunch Elementary in Midland, it caught on fire. Look at that smoke. These clips, they were sent in by a viewer. That fire was out by around 3 p.m. It didn't spread to any nearby buildings. And also no one was hurt. That's good news. Midland ISD, they are closed this week for spring break. There's also no word on what exactly could have started that blaze. Hey, how about a little good news tonight? Whenever there is something going wrong across the world, the Red Cross, they are there to support victims of disaster. Today, they were in parts of West Texas spreading a little cheer to our awesome first responders. They delivered cookies to fire departments across our area. It's part of their celebration of March is Red Cross Month. They just wanted to show a little bit of gratitude for the work that firefighters do every day. And this is not something that the Red Cross does just one day a year.
We give back to our community all year long, and supporting the first responders is just something we're making a priority for Red Cross Month because it's a great month to celebrate the humanitarian mission along with those who serve with us.
The Red Cross made visits all over today. They were at the Central Fire Station in Midland right there on your screen, but the Red Cross, they also made cookie deliveries to fire departments in Odessa, Big Spring, and Monahans. Russia's invasion of Ukraine set off a massive humanitarian crisis, one of the largest in memory. The United Nations estimates at least 2 million people fled Ukraine to neighboring countries, including Poland. That is where NBC's Jay Gray is. He has the story of one facility that was quickly set up to help people in need.
Hey there, good evening from this refugee shelter. You can see people constantly coming in, checking in here, and I want to show you and tell you a little bit about this center. Look, this is an area that used to be a mall 2 weeks ago. It's been shifted into this center, and you can see there are 800 beds in all in this area. You've got donations here, mostly toilet toiletries here. You've got diapers and wipes and toothpaste and things like that. Again, this was a business center 2 weeks ago. A doctor from town convinced the vendors to move downstairs. He took this over and created this shelter. He's got a 24-hour doctor on staff here. He's got catered meals. He's got a lunchroom if people get in too late and can't get that meal, so they'll get a sandwich. He's got a washroom where people can wash and dry their clothes, which is desperately needed for those making this trip. Talk about donations. This is another area that is just amazing to see down here. People continue to bring clothes, jackets, blankets, shoes, the things that so many people need when they were just able to grab a few things and leave their home and dash to safety. And that's what so many of these people have done. Talked about everything in here. I think the most important room, the biggest deal in this place is this one right here. And it's a playroom, as you can see. There are children here who have literally come through bullets and bombing. They've been struggling for 2 weeks, and now they have made the trip here, and they get the chance to finally be a child again. It's so important to see these young faces smiling and laughing. That's the latest from here in Poland. I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
Humanitarian work is happening all the way over here in Texas, too. Far from the front lines, a group of grandmothers in North Texas are showing their support for Ukrainians and using all of the crafting material they can get their hands on. That's ahead in tonight's Texas Roundup. And COVID tests, they are more available than ever. Have you ordered a set yet? Here's what you need to know about a chemical in those tests that could be dangerous to your health if it is used the wrong way.
Over the past several days, we've seen groups coming together to show their support for Ukraine in the wake of that terrible invasion. And the Lone Star State is no different. That's where we're starting things in the Texas Roundup tonight. Let's head on over to North Texas. That's where a group of grandmothers in Irving are showing their collective support for Ukraine.
We do care about them, and they're not a million miles away. We very much are on their side and would do anything we could to help them. I hope that they would know that we're extending our hands to them and our hearts, and that we would do anything we could to help stop the sense of brutality that is going on in their country.
The women are hard at work making wreaths, bows, and pins, and using all blue and yellow material they can find, all to show support for a nation under attack. Now, what gives these special ladies an extra special perspective on the crisis overseas, they say that it's because they've been there before.
The grandmothers remember, and we don't want this to happen again and again and again in our world. They're our next generation, and they're being traumatized over there by the terrible, terrible things that are going on.
Some of these women were children during World War II, so now they worry for the children in this war. It just goes to show you can never underestimate the influence of a grandmother. And there are other efforts to show support for Ukraine all the way here in Texas. Today, Governor Greg Abbott made a show of support of his own in a meeting with over 50 faith leaders from across the state. Governor Abbott announced that this Sunday will be a statewide day of prayer. He expressed his sadness over the invasion and said that everyone in Texas feels the same way, regardless of their religious background. This Sunday, the governor's mansion will also be lit up with those same colors the Irving grandmothers are using, blue and gold, the colors of the Ukraine flag. Tatum, back to you.
Mason, thank you. With so much going on around the world, an invasion in Ukraine, soaring prices at the gas pump, it's easy to forget that, hey, there's still a pandemic happening. There's good news, though. Numbers there down in the Permian Basin. Less than 50 people hospitalized between Midland and Odessa tonight. Thank goodness. And COVID tests, they are more available than ever. The government will soon start shipping another round of COVID-19 tests to all Americans who would like one. Our National Verified team takes a look at those tests and what you need to know about claims that they contain a potential lethal ingredient.
Health officials tout at-home rapid COVID-19 tests as a first line of defense against the pandemic. The tests allow users to take their own sample and then get a result within 15 minutes. Some social media users saying that convenience can come at a cost in the form of a lethal ingredient used to generate the result.
So let's verify. Do some at-home COVID-19 tests contain a lethal ingredient?
Our sources are the Upstate Poison Center, the Cincinnati Drug and Poison Information Center, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the National Capital Poison Center. When you do a rapid home test, the kit requires users to collect a sample and place it on a tray. Then you have to mix a liquid reagent with the sample to make a reaction, which generates a positive or negative result. The Upstate Poison Center says the liquid reagent in many tests contains sodium azide, which the CDC calls a potentially dangerous chemical. But all three poison centers say the test kits contain such a small amount of sodium azide that most people will not become seriously ill if they use the test improperly, such as ingesting the solution. Cincinnati poison experts saying the two most common calls about COVID home tests they get are either about children who ingest the liquid or adults who mistake the test bottle for eye drops. The National Center said it also received calls from people who put the solution up their nose or spilled it on their finger. In every case, the person suffered either no to mild irritation.
So it's true. Some rapid at-home COVID-19 tests contain a very small amount of a poisonous ingredient, but the tests are perfectly safe when used correctly.
Most people have no or mild symptoms if they incorrectly touch or ingest the dangerous ingredient. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Important note, that tube, it's not eye drops. Just so you know, everyone.
Yeah, the more you know, so hope you're listening to that. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at our weather forecast. A chilly one out there tonight, but a strong cold front comes in tomorrow night. I'll break that down. Hey, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the weather today because it's about to get a whole lot colder out there. Here's your Billy Black Kitty in there weather picture of the day. Kelly Holland took this picture from the Stanton area earlier. You see the sun continues to set there in West Texas several hours ago, and we continue to see those longer days. We're about to even see an hour of those longer days as the time changes this coming weekend. But here's a look at today's almanac. 64 degrees was the high temperature at Middle International Airport, which is still 6 degrees below average for this time of the year, but we're going to see much below average by Friday. So let's go ahead and start talking about what we're expecting over the next couple days here. Tonight, 35 is the low temperature, Midland and Odessa, so chilly, but we should stay above the freezing mark for most of West Texas, down to 32, Hobbs, Seminole, and Lamesa later on tonight and tomorrow morning. So chilly out there, not too bad, and most of tomorrow is looking pretty good. High temperatures are expected in the 60s through much of the area, 66 Midland, 68 in Odessa, warmer to the south, Pecos and Fort Stockton, but cooler to the north. Look at Snyder, the high temperature only 58 degrees. That's because our cold front's going to start to affect parts of West Texas later on tomorrow afternoon and evening, and it's going to feel even colder. Take a look at these wind chill values. Early Friday morning, we can see wind chills in the teens and even some single digits out across West Texas and southeast New Mexico early Friday morning, so get ready. Let's go ahead and time it out for you right here. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. there's the cold front between Lubbock and Midland, but it's going to kind of stall out a little bit during tomorrow afternoon. So you see this cold front right here. We're going to warm up into the mid-60s, Midland and Odessa, as we go into tomorrow afternoon, while the colder air stays in the Texas Panhandle. Finally, all that cold air surges down to the south, and we'll get down to the 20s here in West Texas, again with those even colder wind chills. Will we see snow? Well, it's looking more likely that there could be a little bit of snow. The air's going to be pretty dry, but still could see between a dusting, maybe even up to half an inch of snow from Lamesa to Seminole over to Hobbs in the far northern basin here. A little bit less of a chance towards Midland, Odessa, but a slight wintry mix, little to no accumulation around I-20 from Pecos, Midland, Odessa, and over towards Big Spring. So the best chance in the far northern basin and southeast New Mexico. Most roads are going to be unaffected here, but we still could see some slick bridges and overpasses. Be careful out there Friday morning, especially between 5 a.m. and noon. We'll keep you updated on that tomorrow as well. 38 degrees, your high temperature on Friday before we warm right back up near 60 on Saturday and into the low 70s Sunday and Monday. Cory.
Thank you, Anthony. Coming up in sports, hear from Coach Bucket before his squad tries to win a national title. Good evening, beautiful people. In a time where gas is going up, but my paycheck is staying the same, this Midlander over here is giving out $5 million to Texas Tech's football program. His name is Mike Williams, and he's pictured there to the left. His contribution will go towards the construction of Tech's new football center and the south end zone to Jones AT&T Stadium. With this donation, the football program has received more than $62 million since October. And speaking of the Red Raiders, their basketball team is set to play tomorrow in the Big 12 tournament against Iowa State. Tech is coming in as the number 3 seed and has a legit shot to win the title. Now, Odessa College is hoping to win their own championship in the next 10 days as they travel to Hutchinson, Kansas for the JUCO National Championship. Now, if the Wranglers want to win it all, they're going to have to earn it. Assuming they win their first matchup, they'll set up a date with the number 1 team in the country, Salt Lake Community College, a team OC played earlier in the year but lost in overtime.
We're going to have a lot of fun. I mean, we're going to approach it, and we're going to be loose, and we're going to have a lot of fun in this tournament. You know, our goal is to play that 7 o'clock game on Saturday night on March 19th. So if we're playing in that game, look out. And I really believe this is probably, since I've been here, our best shot to win a national title with this group I've got. This is our 3rd year we've gone, and I really believe this is the group that is capable of getting the job done.
Now, this video is circulating the internet lately. Out in Rhode Island for the Northeast Championship game between Wagner University and Bryant, the fans started throwing hands. This happened with less than 5 minutes left in the game, but it caused a 30-minute delay. No players were involved, but drinks were definitely thrown and people got kicked out. Now, with that being said, though, sports is never that deep, okay? Plus, you already know your boy looks too good to be throwing punches. Can't mess up this moneymaker, baby, you feel me? That's it for sports. We'll be right back.
Typically, you don't think of Los Angeles when you think about farm animals on the loose, but one fugitive bovine was out to disprove that idea today. A wayward cow is back in captivity after running across Los Angeles on the loose. The cow led animal control officers on a chase through the streets, across freeways, up and down stairs, before eventually running to a ranch. That is where animal control was able to lasso it. Hopefully it enjoyed spending the day feeling like Ferris Bueller, am I right?
Just enjoying some of that Southern California sunshine right there. But hey, enjoy some of the West Texas sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures in the 60s. Enjoy it because things are going to change late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. That's when our cold front comes through. So we go from the 60s tomorrow. Here's Friday's high temperatures, the 30s here in West Texas. And it's going to feel even colder when you account for that wind. So make sure to, stay inside if you can. But if you have to be out, make sure to bundle up. And again, there is a slight chance of just a little bit of snow for parts of West Texas early Friday morning. It's not going to be much if we get anything at all, but make sure to stay with us. Keep you updated.
It's going to be chilly, everybody. Talk about a difference. Yeah, not fun. Okay, hey, that's all the time that we have here at 10. We'll see y'all tomorrow.